Hey, hey.
Hey,
So it's good to get reconnected. I had a really crazy week. My daughter flipped her car on Monday.
what?
She turned it upside down, destroyed it, but she came out with like a little tiny scratch.
Oh my God.
Mostly
How did,
emotionally shaken, no physical,
yeah,
nothing. If the car had hit whatever it hit when it flipped upside down a little bit more to the driver's side, we might be having a completely different conversation or no conversation at all right now. Because
right.
I would
Oh my
be,
God.
but she just literally called 911 hanging upside down in her seatbelts. The airbags didn't even deploy. That just kind of, you know,
How
so
did that happen?
dodging a deer.
Oh,
So, but I guess the police have to issue a ticket for something because they gave her a ticket for being on the wrong side of the road. But I went back and took pictures of all the skid marks. No, she skidded across the road, but she was always on the correct side of the road.
why
So
do they have to issue a ticket?
I think
That's
that's
asinine.
just, yeah, it's just normal crap in New York. You know, state troopers. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I would fight that.
Well, we will. Trust me.
I wouldn't. I
We'll,
wouldn't
we'll fight
give them the satisfaction that,
it.
or I guess that's a ridiculous.
Yep. No, we have to send it in. The way paperwork works here, it may be everywhere it's the same. I don't know, but in New York, you send in your not guilty plea, and then you have to go stand in front of then you go meet for what they call a preliminary hearing. There's no automatic adjudication. It's, so usually what that means, it's the opportunity for the town prosecutor to come and say, you know what, we could plead this down today if you want to, and nobody wants to go back for another meeting. So everybody pleads it down. And I'm perfectly
Right.
okay with that approach. It costs money to go back. So I'm perfectly okay saying, yeah, we could plead this down, but we're also going to price this lower. We're not going to pay the infraction
Why would you
fee
even have to pay? I don't even get that. She was in an
because you don't want to go
accident.
back. You don't want to go back. So, because it's a racket. It's a racket in the state of New York, at least. It's a racket.
The whole government's a racket. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest.
And vehicle violations are a pretty big form of revenue.
Yep.
So some towns,
Yeah.
not or some villages or some of these organized government municipalities. Some of them, it's their lead source of revenue. So, and then if it's the right kind of fine, a piece of it goes back to New York State. They call them surcharges. So it's a pretty big racket.
Yeah.
So,
Oy.
but you know what? You use the racket to your advantage too. If you have not been a frequent violator of the law, of the traffic law, and you go to court like doing something stupid, and you got caught, then you want
Right.
that plea opportunity. So,
Right.
so, so anyway, now I'm giving it out to the whole universe, and so they'll have to change the system. But anyway,
Give me
so tell
one
me a little bit
second. I
about.
want to. Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna plug something in here. I need to in order to oh, I wonder what this will do. Let me oh wait, that little rascal. He keeps on unplugging this plug. Give me a minute. I'm going down
Little
under
rascal
it.
being the young man in the house.
Yes, yes. He just loves unplugging things. Now, if I can remember how to plug it back in, that's the question. Hmm. There we go. I'm back.
Hey,
Good eye,
I
Mike.
felt like maybe I should talk to keep things busy. I should have maybe done a hand dance or something, you know.
Yeah, okay, there we go. See that? You can't tell anything. You can just see me. Well, I'm doing the elevator.
Oh, so your chair has power.
No, my desk has power.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that way I can ah, sit a little more comfortably and not have the desk, my knee digging into the bottom of the desk. All right.
Well,
That's a freebie for me too.
I just got a new chair while I was tending to my daughter. I went and hung out with her for 3.5 days. Just my dad. I need to can't just go. Oh, it's good you're still here. Thanks. I think she had a close call, and so I went and spent some time with her, and
She did.
we saw a movie which wasn't that good, but it was okay. And then we saw Cocaine Bear.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
it was okay. I mean, there are movies I've wanted to walk out on. This one isn't one I wanted to walk out on. And they did have some twists and turns in it so that it didn't feel like something that was totally predictable.
Right.
Um, um, CGI was good. The premise was a little bit strange. I mean, I understand some bear ate cocaine in the 70s and died, but this bear didn't show the same path. It was something a little different. But anyway, so it was kind of like a dark comedy. Elizabeth Banks, I think it's her production, did a good job. I don't know if you saw Hunger Games. She played Effie in the Hunger Games. So she was opposite Nicolas Cage in a couple of movies and things like that. So she's definitely a talented actor, and it seems like overall I give her an 8 out of 10 on the movie. But anyway, putting that aside, we ate some food together, had some time together, did a movie, these other things, just to kind of make sure that we're there. So we talked about the car issue that comes out of this. She's now son's car. That's whatever. Anyway, that's been my last week. Been crazy busy. Now I'm playing catch up. So okay, enough about me. We were talking about I was going to say one more thing. I did get my new chair yesterday.
Yeah.
So here's the chair.
That's nice.
Talk to you later.
Yeah. Wow.
There are plenty of times when I just need to kind of kick back for like 10 minutes, the eyes closed and things like that. And there is no way to do it in the other chair. The other chair was just not, this was the right price. It was easy to assemble. I have no complaints.
And it turns into a bed.
It turns into a recliner. Actually, better than a recliner. Because recliners are still kind of folded, like kind of, I don't know, like kind of like this. It just, everything kind of goes like that. Whereas this thing, it kind of goes pretty flat. So I'm happy.
That's cool.
I'm happy. Good. So anyway, that was enough for everybody. So I'll talk to you later. Anyway, tell me about you.
Well, I'm going to be losing the screen here. So I'm thinking of just I'm going to have to buy one of those green screen holders eventually. I have to figure out how big this screen is that you sent me. I don't know what the measurements are. Maybe you have that in your information.
It's probably a 5x7.
This? I think it's bigger than that. It's much taller than me. So it's at least 6 feet.
Oh, the first one was 5x7. The second one, I have to look it up. The second one was much bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to know because then
the 5x7 wasn't working. The 5x7 is
No.
it's not a good purchase because it doesn't work. That's why I sent it to you. It wasn't working for me. I just said, let's see if you could use it. And then of course it didn't even work for you. So, so yeah, so
Well, I think
the
I'm just
screen,
going to end up probably pinning it to the wall behind where I sleep, and just kind of just doing like what I did that one time when I was just sitting in the
okay,
warmth of my bed until I
well,
get a screen holder.
that'll
Um,
hold you. I mean, the other thing you can do is you have molding in your space, right? So you
well,
can get
it's
mold,
not.
you can
I've
get
thought about what you
molding
said about screwing something in and running a
or a
wire, but
molding hook. If you have a molding, you could get a what they call a molding hook that just hangs on the molding, and then you could just string fishing line, for lack of anything, across from holder to holder.
I don't really have molding though. I only have it around the windows. The
Oh,
rest of
okay,
it
that's not
is,
it's not the same kind of
yeah,
molding.
it's
Yeah.
not. No, not at all. It's just an old Victorian. So, okay. So getting to what I wanted to talk to you about the other day, I was kind of having some thoughts where we've
Just so you know,
talked many
before you
times.
hold
Yeah,
your thought, just so you have the data, it's a 10 by 10. So,
perfect. That's easy enough to remember. Um, so I've talked about like having other people on the show, or just having like kind of these back and forth conversations with other of my fellow coaches, or yeah, just other things. And I did think about how I wanted to do that, and what wanted some assistance if I could get on that. It's basically, I would like to start a second show, and I'm going to call that one will be the name of the YouTube channel. The show will be called Authentic BS.
okay.
And I have an idea of how I want, like, how I kind of want it to look. Like, I want the authentic to kind of be a very, like, I want it to be a very, like, the font, I want it to be very like solid, like almost like it was like stamped, or like a steel, or something that just is like, gives the sense of like it's there to stay. It's a bold feeling. It's authentic, right? And
Mhm.
then at the end, kind of at an angle, I just want slapped on, like somebody took a red
Like a crayon.
paintbrush and wrote BS
Okay.
at the end of the word authentic. And I
Okay.
think I kind of did the best I could in Canva in the short period of time that I could, or the using whatever font they had. That's kind of what I have above. Like if you go to the YouTube channel and you look at it. But what I want to do is I want to start doing these recordings with some of my other coach friends, just a few where it's just me and them,
Yeah, good.
where we're not necessarily, where we're kind of doing what you and I have been doing, where we're just kind of talking, but we can definitely, like, I want to treat it more like where they're kind of the star of the show a little bit. And
Mhm.
so it'll be kind of, I would say, 50% just conversation between them and I, kind of like you and I are doing, and 50% kind of interview, but not really, just kind of letting it flow naturally.
Mhm.
So, what I would like to get help with is if you can help me come up with, um, first of all, like a back screen. So I'm sitting, with something that says authentic BS with the paint and the word authentic. And it just could be conversations with coaches. I
Okay.
think would be the tagline. And then I don't know about a symbol yet on the right, or whatever, the left hand side. possibly maybe that one that I'm kind of coming up with, that pyramid thing with the AAAV.
Okay.
So I just have to mess around with that. But that's not as important. What I think what I think is important is trying to get a back screen made so it's something that exists and that I can use. And then the other thing is an intro and outro. And I mean, I love the Dead Guys Talking one. It looks so professional and it's kind of, and I didn't know, like I kind of I'm thinking like if there's a way to do that with the authentic BS, like maybe it like, the word authentic kind of comes in, and then you can kind of, I don't know how you would do a graphic like that unless you paid somebody for it. I guess you were saying that the Dead Guys Talking one was one that you already had, right? So it just kind of
Well, it's
worked
something.
out perfectly.
It's part of a toolkit I have that I leverage, and that obviously we customized that to fit the logo and theme for Dead Guys Talking.
Right.
So yeah, we
Maybe
can.
can we dink around
I
in
have
your
a
toolkit and
pretty big toolkit, so we could probably find something that would support your authentic BS narrative and posture. Sure. So
okay. And what I was thinking is just to get it started. Well, yeah, I would love to put something like that together. As soon as time is, I with the craziness that we all have going on, I would love to do that and get that rolling. Um, and like I would like ultimately like want to kick it off with you. Like I'll have you on there and we'll more talk about like you and your history and just what inspired you to become a coach.
oh,
And
oh, sure,
yeah,
it'd be fun. So
yeah. And then maybe my second person would be my friend Mark, who does the one who does physical fitness for seniors, because
good,
he's also a coach.
right?
Um,
So what you do,
and
so to give you sort of a shape it out for you here. So my show is long conversation, long format conversation.
yeah,
I have two shows. One's for business, and the other one's for personal positivity type of thing. And and in both cases, whoever comes on, we get their origin story, which is really important for
yeah,
everything from understanding and credibility and connecting or resonation, all those other things. And you'll find out that, I used to have these canned questions when I had my radio show,
oh, I
broadcast
remember
radio.
you telling me about this. Yeah,
I had
yeah,
these canned questions and I would like, but and in some
yeah.
ways the questions were kind of important to be canned because we only had 46 minutes to broadcast.
Oh
It was
man,
scripted
okay.
with commercials and all this other stuff. But when you're on YouTube, you can go as long or as short as you want it to go. So, and I
Yeah,
fear like if you're going to do a short format, you're going to have to keep it to like 15 minutes because people just don't stick around. And even then, they don't stick around. So the only reason why people go to a long format is you're providing real value of some kind, whether it's some of it could be just eavesdropping type thing. Like when we're talking, sometimes it's just casual nonsense that may not have any direct or germane purpose for them to listen to other than being a fly on the wall, listening to eavesdropping, so to speak. But for the most part, I believe we talk about things that can be of value. So when you're doing your show for Authentic BS, you could just the kind of thing is getting people's origin stories, and you'll find out what works for you in terms of kickstarting that conversation. Because once somebody goes,
yeah.
you cannot let them go. You cannot let them talk about it.
Well, I'm just gonna treat it the same way I treat these.
Hmm,
I don't have anything planned.
good.
I just want to be able to have like a background and so it's a little bit more professional. I mean, I know that they may not be coming in with a background, but I can definitely, they can choose whatever they want.
Hmm.
I love Google for that reason, because Google has the all those very beautiful, like kind of moving backgrounds. You can be in the Sahara, or the African safari, or you can
You
be
know what
in,
Google Meets?
Yeah, it's really cool.
What are your
And I have
recording
to find
options
out.
for Google Meets? I haven't played around with Google Meets. I
I
once I
don't
settled
know.
on Zoom, once I settled on Zoom, I stayed with Zoom. So
So I only have like I have unlimited access to Microsoft, so I have to see how Teams does and what and if there's a way to record with Teams. Um, but if there isn't, I'm just gonna have to buy a Zoom account.
okay. Well, when we're ready for that, I'll talk to you about um, the Zoom I have is a little bit on the overkill at some on occasions, but there are just a few occasions when I'm glad I have it. Unlimited storage, 500 attendees, those kinds of limits. It's a little higher end than some of the other things, but not everybody's ready to jump to that. So there could be other approaches, but you have to unfortunately get a paid account. Otherwise you're limited to 40 minutes.
Yeah. And then the other thing is we'll definitely need to have a once we get this intro created and the outro, you'll have to kind of have to show me the basic steps on
Da Vinci.
whatever art. What
Yeah.
is it? Van
Da
Gogh,
Vinci. Yeah. Da
Da
Vinci
Vinci.
solved. Yeah. So that'll be easy enough because, that'll be kind of formulaic unless you have to edit something out. Then it gets a little bit, then I can show you that too. It's not that challenging. And so
Right.
for anybody who
Well,
asks why I picked on Da Vinci is because when you and I first started these conversations, I was monkeying around with one of the Mozilla Movie Maker and then also with a kind of
Windows.
a Microsoft Movie Maker type tool also,
Yeah,
and they were kind of getting the job done, but when I had to do editing, it got really crazy. Like
it
when I had
was
to
a nightmare.
so and then they did an update on the Mozilla, and then everything I had stopped working, and I just kind of got fed up, and I looked around, and there are a few higher end products. There's Adobe has a product. There's something inside the Apple platform. There's but I after doing all the and then there's a couple of other Microsoft based platforms like maybe reasonable. You could even say that the Premiere from Adobe and the Camtasia product are comparable to DaVinci, but if you talk to the cinema people, they don't use those other two products. They use this. So,
Yeah. Da
I'm not,
Vinci's
and
cool.
I'm just tinkering around with it for the time being. I'm by no means am I making full length feature films, but I can sort of see the power in DaVinci to make that happen. Everything you can conceivably need is in DaVinci.
Yeah, there's a lot there. It's a tad bit overwhelming.
So, but I'll show you the basics,
Yeah,
which is
that
kind
would
of
be
where I
good.
still operate. I still operate pretty
And
much in the basics. I don't use the fusion feature because there's a lot of intricacies involved in that. I have touched on it a couple of times, but I really don't play too much in that. And then there's the sound area of the system. But otherwise, you can do almost everything. For our purposes, what we're doing here, we can almost do almost everything without all those advanced functions.
yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, and I think it'll be good for me as far as having like it'll be somewhat of an advancement towards what I'm trying to do. And I just it was one of those middle of the night ideas, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like that's how we can do this. And I was like, I need to go with that. Like that was a kind of a message for me. And I just who knows what will come of that. It's just I think part of it came with like most of like I kind of got back into posting on social media, and now I'm getting more into a routine, but everything that I've been posting has been our videos. I haven't actually made like a post where it's just something just something I had thoughts on. So I need to kind
Right.
of I'm realizing there's different kinds of posts I can make for social media. There's ones for the videos, and then there's, just other ones where I'm just kind of having a thought. But
And I
I'm
just
just
want to say,
trying to be,
the thoughts I've seen, I might have seen a couple of things on TikToks, but I'm sure I've seen stuff on the Instagram that you post.
I put everything out there. I mean,
Okay.
I put it all on all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I should show you how you can replicate them more easily, but that's another conversation. So, but the stuff you posted is very good. I mean, I'm saying it's very good. It's not pushy. It's not bitter. It's it brings some value, and you have a lot of sensitivity in the way you put it out there. So there's no chance on earth, unless somebody's completely out in Hateville, that anybody could ever look at this and go, "What the hell's he doing?" Like it's just feel good stuff, and I think so. Hopefully, you feel good about what I'm saying, but it's true. I'm not.
Well, there was one that I put out, and I think it was on Facebook. Let me see which one it was. And it was the one where, oh God, how do I do this? Oh yeah, it's the one where I have like the kids swinging around on the tire screen. It says, "Our society is not without its flaws, so how do we change it for the better? I'll give you a hint." And I said, "Look in the mirror."
Yeah, I saw that.
Basically, it starts with you, right? You make the change. If you think society's a pile of steaming shit, you got to start with yourself. And somebody like, like you could do like the little, I guess you could put like, you can heart it or you can smile, laugh it or whatever. Somebody did like an angry face, and I wonder if they were like, "Yeah, I agree with him. Society is blah blah blah," or if he was like, this person was like, um,
You're full of crap.
what? Oh no, if this person was like, "Look at myself in the mirror. Why would I ever do
That's
that?"
what I'm saying. Yeah, like you're full of crap. Like that idea
Yeah,
is a good idea. Yeah.
but it was cool. It was my first like it was the
So
first time
you're,
I ever got somebody that had like the angry face, and I was just like, "Oh, that's funny."
well, here's what I would do.
But
I would direct message them and I would say, "Hey, I saw your angry face. Love to have a better understanding about where you were going with this." I've been listening to
yeah,
a comedian named Taylor Tomlinson. I don't know if you know who she is, and
I don't think so.
but she's brilliant. She's in her mid to late 20s, and she's brilliant. Brilliant. Has a pretty solid understanding of the human condition, because otherwise she would never be as funny as she was. She just kind of gets. She
So
especially gets
Taylor Tomlinson.
Taylor Tomlinson. She gets the dark side of humanity. She has a Netflix special, so you can
That's
catch her
what
on.
I'm gonna.
So I didn't watch
I've
the
been,
Netflix
yeah.
special yet. I've just been catching the shorts. But she's brilliant. She's utterly brilliant. And actually, I think I might reach out to her and ask if she'll come on my show. But
Oh, there she is. She's got a ton of stuff on Netflix.
yes,
She's
she's
got. Oh wait, that's Taylor Swift. So there's two things of hers. There's a 2020 and a 2022. So I'll look at the first one
no,
first.
she's brilliant. I think you're gonna
Okay.
like her because she understands the darker side of humanity in some pretty powerful ways, and not in
Well,
a like a vulgar way or anything like that. She actually has. She approaches it with. I mean, she might not even see that she's doing this, but in my observation, she's approaching it with a sense of kind of brutal self-honesty. Of course, that's where she comes in
right.
really. But the flip side of that is that I think she has a sense of compassion for even the people who are walking on the dark side.
Okay.
That a lot of people would be maybe brutal about. It is something about her. You'll watch. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
she's endearing. So why did I even bring her up? Oh, was it something to do with the videos you're making, or um? Anyway,
Says
no,
the person. Yeah.
it was about the what came into my mind was the fact that she had somebody who was like, it might have been a dating app, but one of these things where the guy sent her like some crappy emoji. She goes, "Tell me about this emoji. Does this really work for you?" Like, and he went off. Well, you know, I can tell from the way you respond. I can tell who you are. And it's very funny. I'll have to send you this short. But the point I'm making about this thing is that it's an opportunity to engage when somebody sends you something positive or non-positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're going to build a culture as part of I'm going to call it a practice. If you're going to build a culture, then that kind of engagement is going to be pretty important. So it's somebody sends you something that's a little bit, "Ooh, I don't know what to do with this one." Engage them. Tell me more. Tell me about
Yeah, no,
yourself.
I totally, I've done that in some situations. A lot of times when I like question somebody about things, there's just never a response.
Well, it kind of depends on how you do it. But in this case, you have this direct thing. Because
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
people who do this artificially. I get messages from this one person all the time who's trying to sell me some network marketing thing, right? So
yeah.
she sends me this. Thanks for your comment on my video, and I never commented on your video, so it's already insincere. But I know why she's doing it because someplace along the way, somebody told her the way you build your network is to go out and have these conversations with people in direct messaging. So for her, it's completely insincere, and I don't even engage her. Um, but in your case, it's a direct question. This
Yeah.
emoji you shared with me intrigues me. I'd love to know more about what your thoughts are behind it. And
Yeah.
they may not respond, but at the very least, if they do respond, you're going to get some ideas. So,
Yeah. It's true. It's better than being in the dark. If it was like, if I felt like that was just a passing thing on like, on a, on a story that only lasts 24 hours, um, but yeah, definitely I could see that happening, like if there's comments left on like posts or videos that I put up,
uh-huh.
there's definitely a lot of room there to engage. But yeah,
Right.
I'll have
Well,
to.
you're kind of inspiring me because I've been busy with putting together my shows and stuff, and all this other things I work on, coaching people in their businesses and their lives. But you inspire me to think about whether or not I should put together some of the stuff. Like I just put up a quote today, which is when we I say we, I try not to use the you statements. So when we suppress feelings, we don't get the relief we want. We only limit expression of our feelings, and inevitably end up dealing with those feelings later, utterly amplified. So I put that into
Yeah.
words, and I put it up as a colorful meme on there for just to share as an attachment to my coaching practice. I'm not
Yeah.
looking for anybody to really engage in it. I just want to get the message out to the world. And this one, of course, is the way
Right.
I just said it, maybe a little bit intricate in the language, but it's really a complete truth. If you suppress your feelings, positive or non positive, like if you don't want to have a good feeling, it's going to probably come back to you in some way amplified. So, what are the feelings you're trying to suppress? It's going to come back utterly bigger. And, what I don't say in there is that maybe it's deal with the feelings now, which is hopefully implied, but it's just not there. But if I put this into a video, which I could do, that would be pretty cool too. And I just haven't really put any thoughts to it. So you've inspired me to start thinking about whether or not I should take these things to the next level. So instead of producing them as a flat script on a piece of colorful parchment, I should put them out there as videos with the same text, just put them out there in video format.
Well,
So
you have a lot of options. You have a lot of options on Canva. However, I've found that there's too many steps involved there. And there are things I like about Canva, but I was like, what can I do with Instagram? What will Instagram provide for me? And so what I did was I stopped using Canva and I started using like little recordings, obviously, that I made. And I just have the text type itself out. There is one thing that I would like to figure out where people that the next step that I would love to take is you have your video going and sometimes you hear somebody talking. So I would love to I don't always necessarily need to use music. Like I had an idea that maybe it could just be something I want to say. But I've seen it where somebody's talking and it types it out as they're saying it. And
right.
I'm
Well,
not sure what
it could
that
be
is yet.
transcripted. It could be voice with transcription, or it could be voiceover with words already in production. So either way.
Maybe.
So
But
and
they have it synced. Somehow they have it synced to when the person's saying the word.
Hmm.
It's not them actually, it's not them reading it being typed out. It's um I'm sure if I mess around with I mean I it just requires a little investigation, but I'm just gonna keep on messing around with Instagram and um seeing what I can come up with. It's been kind of enjoyable this time. It's been fun. It's just the consistency um is not always the easiest part.
Right. Even when I do voiceover, um, I make it so that the words show up kind of in alignment with how it's being said. So it's not like spitting the words onto the screen and reading them. So
Right.
there are various ways to do that one. So
How are you doing
so
that?
yeah, but if you find, well, I'm inside of DaVinci. I just end up,
Oh, you
I just make sure that the words are painting in as the speech is being done. So
mm, interesting.
you can't lag too much. You have to kind of get it almost in front of the way the person speaks. So the words showing up as they're speaking it, and sometimes you might even put the better part of a sentence up as they're speaking the sentence, and so it'll all mesh together. So
Yeah.
there are some places
I'll
where the
have
words reveal as they're speaking, and that's certainly doable. But on the flip side of that is, and again, inside of something like DaVinci, you can actually do. It's called an overwrite function, so it'll actually show up. It'll like reveal itself as they're speaking.
mhm.
So anyway, I mean that's just a little technical thing, but I do like the idea of having words. And this for me, I'm looking at multi. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to use voiceover also. So I'm going to do multimedia format in the sense that there could be somebody who's audio impaired who can read it but can't hear it, or somebody who's visually impaired who can't see it but can hear it. Maybe I get that backwards. Whatever I just said. But anyway, whatever somebody's challenge might be in terms of ability, I'd like to be able to service them. So if they can only read, they can let them get the words, and if they can only hear, let them get the words that way too. So right
Yeah.
now,
Well,
because I'm putting up a
it'll
graphic, I'm putting up a picture with words on it. I'm not supporting the visually impaired, and that's not a good thing.
yeah.
So so you
Well, I think
inspired me to go to the next step, go to the next level.
well that and that's just it. That's what I was gonna say. It's like if I think as we tinker and work on it, you just start learning little tricks. It starts like the it starts becoming second nature, and then you just get better at what you're doing. So um we'll see. I'm gonna keep going with this YouTube thing because I feel like that has been I mean it's nice. I love having the conversations. I feel like there's value there for somebody.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm always thinking. My way I look at it is if we only are able to help one person in any given conversation, that's still huge. Because of what I
mhm,
think of as what they call the butterfly effect. That one person's shift could change the lives of millions. So,
it's
and
true.
hopefully in a positive way, ideally in a positive way. Don't want to create the next Adolf Hitler, but
Yeah, please.
so I don't think we
Yeah.
talk about anything in such a way it should create an Adolf Hitler, but who knows? Who knows what twisted thing could take place in somebody's mind. So,
Yeah. Um, well, yeah, so I have every video we've done up now. I'm
okay, I
finally
saw.
caught up and the links. I put a lot of like links to things we've talked about. So, um, but yeah, I just not much else has been going on. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, nothing really, nothing really to report.
Okay, well, I'm very excited for you in terms of your beginning the process of launching Authentic BS as a conversation format, and using that as another vehicle for affecting a better world. And then the other part of it is I'm excited because I think it's very much a part of the culture of if you look at the unraveling or the revelation of your own journey, these are the kinds of people that are out there that need the same kind of support, that like people who are I don't use the word sensitive in the sense that they're like really easy prey sensitive. I just mean sensitive in terms of having feelings and then looking to explore them, and then take those feelings and explorations and use them for positive experience for themselves and others. And I think that's very much of what our conversations have, even before we started doing this show. Our conversations have always been about exploring those kinds of feelings, and part of it too is, I mean, almost all my clients are women. I have a couple of men, and actually right now both of them are on hiatus, so maybe I only can say women only. But for the most part, maybe I should say with you as an exception, right? And but for the most part, is that what it's always about is having feelings, exploring those feelings, learning to accept and where those feelings are taking us, and then also revealing to ourselves more about ourselves because of those feelings. We're like, all feelings are messengers. All feelings are friends who deliver us important news. So I'm getting in slow motion here. I don't know if you can, if I'm.
You're good.
Okay. So so if all messages are friends delivering information to us, which fundamentally I think they are, the question comes down to is how do we work with those feelings, and how do we use them to make our journeys more wise and more free?
Right.
Wisdom and freedom. So so what you're doing with Authentic BS and what we've been doing here, they both inspire me to constantly, make sure that I keep my eye on the prize of serving humanity in the right way, and making the world a better place.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of going back to that little video I put out there. I mean, it starts with you, like, I think that's the next step, right? There's so many people that have that aha, like that awakening, that are like, they just want to like take their newfound what do you call that when you enlightenment, I suppose, I guess, and and just go sit in a mountain cave somewhere. But the next step is that you actually must help others. And I mean, I think, I certainly haven't found some sort of an enlightenment, but I do feel like helping others is important. And I'm also, in all honesty, helping myself along the way. But yeah, I agree. I feel like if we're helping people just in the slightest bit through our conversations or the work that we're doing, then we're achieving our goals. I mean,
Right.
partially achieving
Well,
our
like
goals.
the video you just shared that talked about looking in the mirror, right? So that conversation is, if it wasn't already world famous, it became world famous by the time Michael Jackson released his song "Man in the Mirror." So like, I'm going to make a change was one of the opening lyrics for "Once in My Life." I'm going to feel real good, going to make a difference, going to make it make it right, I should say. And then and then later on, as I'm starting with the man in the mirror and I'm asking him to change his ways, it's like, so these he did a pretty rich job of talking about this thing that you put up in your video, and I think you said it more efficiently than he did. Because
Well,
you,
it's got to be short.
you were done in, I don't know, probably 20 words.
Yeah, it's got to be quick. And then, I like it. And under the videos, I post some more stuff and then all the information for the show and the links. Um, I do get a lot of people. I still like now, especially now that I've been posting a lot more, I'm getting a lot of people that want to sell me their services or
Yeah,
start
that'll never
asking
end.
me. They're asking me the coaching questions like, what got you interested in coaching? And I politely reply like once or twice, and then I'm just like, I know where this is going. I don't have the energy to just keep answering the same damn question over and over again.
Right.
Um, I did have a couple of women from India request my friendship on
Oh,
LinkedIn, and they were
all of mine lately have been from China.
okay. Well, they for $70, they'll get you 1,000 followers on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, that's a different thing. All the girls from China are asking, like, do you live in New York? Like, can we be
Well,
friends? Please friend me on Facebook.
yeah, that's
I'm sorry, I didn't realize they were marketing you or trying to be marketing support for you. So,
oh no, yeah, they are. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad, right? But I mean, I'm just like, I don't think that it's kind of like, uh, what am I trying to say? Like, okay, if it's true, you can get me 1,000 followers. Are they real people? Or are they some sort of bot or whatever? And are they people that would actually give a shit about what I was saying? Like
well,
is
that's
it
the most
just
important question. Is there's no way that when you ask somebody to go out and just get you 1,000 followers that they're going to be authentically, one way or the other, they're
right?
not authentically connected to you, and so you're wasting your money and your time and your energy and your culture, because who knows what those 1,000 people, if they're real, could even do to your culture. Um, so so yeah, you only want to attract people who are going to stay connected to what you're doing. So
Yeah. I mean, like there is it's kind of this post that I'm going to be working on pretty soon, but there is no like it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time and
but it accelerates.
yeah,
Accelerates.
but eventually you have something and that's, but
It'll be cool.
yeah,
So
it's
tell me about. I know today we're going to have a little bit less time because you
yeah,
have
I
some.
just want to run a few errands.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how what might be left to talk about, or whether this is a good time just to say, hey, keeping it short today.
No, I mean, we can definitely go more time. I
Okay.
wasn't talking about doing this short. I just didn't really.
I just wanted to make sure that I'm mindful of that need you had there. So,
Yeah,
um,
no. I think I just really wanted to talk about like if you could help me with that stuff. I didn't really have nothing's really popping into my mind. I mean, there's
well,
always
I'm
stuff
just going
that
to give
can.
an idea how different ways can be done for different things. For example, these backgrounds that we have here, I created them in PowerPoint.
Mhm.
I'm actually not too happy with Canva. Canva, it's okay. I mean, especially if somebody has like no technical, zero, you can kind of fake your way through it in Canva. But if you want a little bit of control over what you're doing, sometimes you got to step out of these easy tools, as I like to call it. Canva's like an easy tool, and you have to start thinking about a little bit of this. It's like there are lots of online video tools where you could take your video, upload them, and then drop a couple of things into it, and then spit out some sort of finished product. But you end up losing a lot of different kinds of control. So the question comes down to what are you trying to accomplish here? So, so I'm not, again, I'm not anti-Canva. It's just, for me, it's not the best tool. Because I know tons of people use Canva, and that's how they get their stuff out there, and bless them, that works great. So I'll show you this, but it won't be in Canva. Whatever we do for Authentic BS, it won't be in Canva. As far as the video production options, I have different ways to start that, and we can just do that offline.
Yeah.
So we can figure out what works, and then once I have an idea where you'd like to take it, then I can then fashion something from it.
Well, maybe we can like set up a time to do that. Maybe a weeknight. I don't know. If you're up for it.
Yeah, we could probably do it, like maybe even my Thursday evening. If Thursday
Maybe,
is,
yeah, if I have my Thursday to myself.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
So we got, and then the same thing goes, not just video and placards and backgrounds and all those other things, but there are little video production. Everybody's probably by now heard of Doodly because they advertise all over the place, and
What- where you
Speechelo,
do
which is
like
supposed to do, it's supposed to, like, you have little hand drawings of your frames and all that stuff that you want to do with your talking points and the words paint in accordingly. And so,
oh wow.
so you can, and the more you invest, the more you have power to do with that product. So they give you like the entry level version, and oh, you want to do that? You have to pay us now another chunk of money. So and the other kinds of animation things that are out there that might be, and then the Speechelo is another thing that I probably even have the license for Speechelo. I just have never used it. I think I did pay for it. So but that gives you I can't remember if it's text to voice or voice to text. I think Speechelo. I think it's Speechelo. I can't remember what Speechelo. I have to go back and look at it, but I think Speechelo does it in somebody else's voice. First of all, you have a series of voices you can grab, and it'll do voiceover for your text. So it reads your text and does voiceover. But I've seen so many of those videos out there where the words are mispronounced that I don't think I want to be part of it.
And I don't know what it is that people are using, but there's like these ones where it's see it on so many different videos, like whatever they're saying, like this, they're just saying something, but it sounds very robotic almost.
Yeah, very often I don't know if that's Speechelo, but there are those tools like Speechelo out there. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't need all that.
criticizing Speechelo. I'm not criticizing Speechelo. I don't want anybody thinking I'm like, there's a place for the doodlies, and there's a place for the Speechelos and things like that. So it depends on what your desired results are going to be. And I know a lot of people who are just pushing out content so fast they don't care about quality. It's more volume than anything else. And so some of these products may be perfect for them.
Well, yeah. I don't want anything that I put out there to be inauthentic. And that's why I don't want to pay somebody $70, even though it doesn't seem like a lot of money, to just get me a bunch of random people that can give a shit less about what I'm saying. And I mean, I would like to manifest more money though, because that would be
that
very
begins the art.
helpful.
Maybe next time we talk, we should do something on manifestation.
Well, let's talk about it now.
Okay, we could do
got
that.
time.
Because if the word manifestation gets bandied about like it's just wish, build it and they will come. And I gotta say, nope, that's a small piece of the picture. That's a really small.
I'm finding that with this new position I may be taking, finding that it's going to get hard without having my own vehicle. This whole sharing a vehicle thing isn't going to work. So I need to, I've been hell bent on paying bills off, so I haven't been saving any money. But if I'm going to get a vehicle, just a beater for now, I need to have
I have one that turned upside down last Monday, if you'd like to get that one.
Yeah, sure. Send it here. But, I have to save up a little bit of money. And there's other things that I need. would like to save money for dental work and trips and whatever. So would love to a little help in that
Well, I'll tell you
area.
something I'm working on with a couple of my clients now is we're working on quizzes or surveys. It depends what you want to call them. And,
Mhm.
but, we get a lot of these people goes, go to a website and they go, I'll share with you the 5 secrets of, living a better day or something like that. And then all you need to do is give me your name and email address, and I'll make sure you get my super powerful document. So they call those lead magnets. And the reason why it's a lead magnet is the name that comes in now is part of your lead system. And all the language is wrong, the approach is wrong. It's a broken thing, and the consumer's tired of it. So, but one of the things you can do is, if you're willing to put the energy into it, is build a survey or a quiz that gives them real value. So, and I'm sure we've seen all the junky ones, like find out what kind of animal you are, or whatever. So I'm working with a couple of my clients building out these quizzes and they need to be sophisticated enough to give real value, but they need to be simple enough that people will do them. So there's a little bit of a tightrope working this out. But the reason why I bring this up is because it kind of feeds what we'll talk about with regard to manifestation. But it's just like the idea here is that manifestation is not just about saying I want. I'm sorry, but the secret and all these other things that are out there have been exploited in some unhealthy ways to try to create a picture of that. As soon as you declare to the universe that this is my want, that's all it takes. And in some cases, that may be true. Just tell the universe I want, and it'll happen. But a big but. I don't normally use the word but. I often say and. But this is where a but really can make some sense. Is that let's take a look at. I won't call it reality, but let's take a look at what does manifestation really mean. So, and in some ways, I'd like to shorten it, sort of saying it's the vision. So it's what you want, perhaps, but it's the vision of the reality that you desire, want, or need to experience, and realizing that what could be considered future reality as now. It's real now. It's a posture in ways. Part of the reason for being in that now, that recognition of future reality as now, is because then you start to see, using some of the human condition, there's something called reticular activation. So that's a popular phrase for describing that when that might even have age-old value, in the sense if we were possibly a hunter-gatherer society and we're walking through fields, we recognize that rustle in the grass over there is not a friendly rustle in the grass. We have trained ourselves to look for something that's out of the picture, or that berry over there is something we want, and we can see it all the time because that berry is edible and serves us, and what the case may be. So reticular activation is kind of like looking for those patterns. So that's an important part of manifestation. Reticular activation is a physical attribute in the human condition. It's a very important part of manifestation, because what we end up doing is once we now recognize the vision is now, then we see all those things that support that, including sometimes supporting the shift we might need to do to achieve that vision, or to live in that vision. Achieve is achieve's not my favorite word. Words like create, achieve, goal, they're not my favorite words, because they tend to, one, be future based, and the second thing, they also seem to be forced, as opposed to harnessing the energy of who we are now instead of trying to force something into play. So anyway, so when we talk about money as part of the manifestation thing, I just got a text and I made the mistake of reading the text. So I got sidetracked. So let me turn the phone over so it doesn't happen again. So the idea of manifestation and the money part of the manifestation comes down to recognizing that money is the side effect of the manifestation and not the reason for the
Right.
manifestation. So, because it's not to say you can't say, I need $1 million for this project to recognize, and so I'm manifesting the project. So so there could be some components inside of something that says there's money as part of the equation to see that this reality can take place. It can't be the prime directive. It can be an ancillary component, or it can be a component of what that manifestation is, but it cannot, in my estimation and experience, it cannot be the reason. If all I want is $1 million to make my life easier, I think we violated already the tenet of making the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I do believe from personal data and experience that's been coming along is that how things take place and how manifestation gets realized is how deeply is it connected to the property of making not just humanity, but making everything in our context, because we should be stewards of our environment, not in particular, not exploiters of our environment. So, so it all gets interconnected. But as far as I'm concerned, let me lump humanity and environment and the animal kingdom and sentience of other animals, and possibly, if anybody wants to look at the sentience of the universe or even Mother Earth or Gaia as an intelligence, or whatever the case may be, that we start to honor all of these energies in the process of what we're doing. And we also honor the sacrifices of plants and animals that sustain us, because it's part of this plug-in. And I think manifestation is just embracing the plug-in and then recognizing where, in terms of how we are managing our destinies, which again, I want to be careful with the language, because destiny makes it sound like it's something we need to achieve, when I feel like destiny is what you're already made to be. So
Yeah.
the question is, are we able to start to reveal our destinies to ourselves? And in
I
the
like that a
process,
lot.
reveal our manifestations and live and embrace those manifestations that are attached to those revelations as well. So everything is about bringing the intention of who we're supposed to be, recognizing where our wants, desires, and don't wants are inside of that process that support the revelation of our destinies, and bringing it into the present and embracing it as if it's already happened. Because in some ways, if I could even get metaphysical about this. There is some indication that outside of our physical journeys, time is kind of like multi-directional, or maybe all directional. If you look at the math inside of physics, time could go either direction. There's no reason why time can't go the other way, except for that we live our lives by a linear clock ticking, progressive, pointing in one direction arrow. So I'm not an expert on the math and physics, so please don't ask me for a formula to show you this, but in many cases, some of the formulas in physics are timeless. They don't show time in one direction. And for those properties in physics that do show time, it's a variable that can go either way. So anyway, so manifestation is really a byproduct of understanding that we are in the process of revealing the destiny that belongs to us, the one that we came here to fulfill.
That's beautiful. It's already inside us. It's already who we are. It's kind of like this. It takes it out of this future setting, kind of like what we were talking about last week. Like, I'm trying to achieve perfection. It's rather than that, it's seeing yourself as already perfect in at whatever stage you are, and that it's a fluid thing. It changes. So with destiny, we are fulfilling our destiny in the moment, in the here and now. This is what our destiny was for this moment now. And just, I believe, like, I mean, to me, that's kind of like accepting accepting maybe where you're at, but also but how do you turn that into like, so if I am living my destiny right now, then how do you manifest the change in the destiny? So for instance, if this current state that I'm in now is my destiny, and it was also my destiny when I was a child and whatnot, how do I manifest like I said, the change I want, or the yeah,
Well,
how do I do that?
being in the moment is about the journey, the process to the destination. And the other thing is destiny as our destination, or whatever, however you'd like to link those two kinds of concepts. Is that in many ways however immutable they are in terms of our purpose or reason for being here, it doesn't mean that we ever consequentially fully achieve destiny. So
Right.
the process is super, super important. And each moment we're in, you could treat as an instance of destiny. So it doesn't mean it's the final aspect of what our destiny looks like. It's just that we have in the moment right now, if I'm manifesting or participating in the manifestation of something that may have a deeper, a not yet realized construct, but the reason why I'm bringing it into the present so as I can treat it as real and I can treat it as realized in the moment is because it then gives me the best framing for recognizing where things fit and don't fit in this process so that I'm not spending time on shiny objects, for example, that don't serve. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times for shiny objects. Self-care is an important shiny object. And sometimes self-care might be a little bit of a detour from sitting in that manifestation. Or it could be a very important part of being in that manifestation. So, it's the part we lost when we were talking about perfection and, being perfect where you are. It's kind of like recognizing that this current stage of my destiny is where I'm meant to be at the moment. Whether I'm being completely focused or unfocused, or whether I'm distracted, or I have a trauma that I'm still working on, or I pick the list of possibilities, limiting belief, whatever it is I still haven't realized a transition out of, or whatever the case may be. That level of perfection is that in the moment where I am, I'm still perfect because I'm where I need to be for me to get to the next realization, to be part of that. So destination is an always unfolding, always revealing type of thing. And in some sense, I'm not clear. In my mind, it's not clear to me that we ever fully know what that destiny is. We can get inspiration about it, whatever the case may be. But if you look at the idea, and if you look at it from the ideas, is that we are, as human beings, having this journey that stems possibly from planning something before we even became postured in this human form, before we were conceived and born, that we may have made a plan for how we're going to make this journey work and what we're supposed to learn from it and what we're supposed to do to help others. And then unless suddenly some sort of wall gets dropped down, some screen gets suddenly taken away, that we can suddenly see our souls with utter clarity, I don't think we can ever be concretely sure what our destinies are. So that's why I think wants and desires can be very helpful, because as long as the want and the desire has some authenticity attached to it, it's not arbitrary. Like, I want $1 million for the sake of $1 million. Okay, that's a want, but how does that serve? So I always like to think is, what is the service connected want, desire? It doesn't mean you can't be happy. It doesn't mean you can't do something that makes you feel good. It doesn't mean you can't do something that makes you physically feel good, like riding in a hot air balloon. It's an experience, and these experiences play a role in how we are able to journey. So I just want to be careful with the word shiny objects. Some shiny objects are just pure distraction because we're coping. And some shiny objects are designed to give us like pause, self-care time, reflection, experience, fun and adventure. The human condition is designed to allow fun and adventure. Now, if we lived exclusively for adventure, which could be good, What if I'm living exclusively for adventure because that's the only way I can cope with my traumas? I'm still, no much how much adventure I'm participating in, I'm still having a little bit of a prison experience. I'm a little bit stuck because I'm still trying to use that as my medication to cope with something that may have happened to me. So if we look at all of our destination work, all of our destiny work, and all of the revelations that take place along the way, and all those things about discussing perfection and imperfections and all that stuff, all of it really goes back to that word. We talked about it last week, if I'm not mistaken, is the word awareness. So how are we consciously maintaining awareness in the fact, in not being reactionary and not being stuck in drama and, or trying to bypass, which is another challenge that people have. The distance from coping, the farther the distance is from coping that we can get, probably we are in a way more in a state of awareness. Okay, you're into the sermon.
Oh no, it's good. I'm gonna have to listen to this again. It's a lot of info.
Well, but every time we have these conversations, we're unpacking these things. But
can you maybe I missed? Yeah, it's true. Maybe I missed it. So now with talking about all the destiny, can you just sum up how the manifestation plays in with that? Like, what's the,
because I don't think
note?
just to shorten it says I don't think we can be 100% confident that any destiny that we have in mind is fully understood or fully known.
Okay. Right.
Because there is some sort of screen between us and the soul. Otherwise, what's the point of having a human journey? If we always get a chance to talk to our souls and the souls can coach us along, hey, you came here to experience betrayal and abandonment as your trauma. And once you get that done, you're done. You can just leave. We don't know. And the other part of it is maybe it's not just, it seems likely to me, personal data included in the discussion. It's not just about what we're here to experience. It's what we're here to help others experience. It's an all direction thing. So anyway, so since you can't be fully sure or aware of what your final destination is, other than we know that at some point, based on current available human condition, we're probably all going to be kicking the bucket at some point. That's a kind of a destination, isn't it? And we don't know when that destination is. It could be the moment we step outside and get hit by a bus, or it could be, because of technology, maybe another 100 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe 500 years because of technology. Putting that aside, since I don't know what my destination is in concrete terms, then I have to look at my current process, the current place where I am, using that word perfection. I'm perfect as I am today, because right now I'm living in my current, right this moment, I'm in my current destiny. More destiny to be revealed, more things to be going along. And then, okay, to keep it short, the power of our wants and desires and our don't wants, because we have to be aware of those too, is that they might be coming from instinct, that some unknown connection to what our destiny is all about, or it might be coming from the next lesson we need to learn, which is a form of destiny too. Each lesson we learn is part of our destiny. So whatever it is, the wants and desires are the best guesses we have towards what our destiny really means and what we're supposed to be about. I mean, I have these things. I know that much of our journey is about often figuring out a way to be free. I know this. I feel it. But it's not the final destination. There's more, because I feel like once I understand more intimately that freedom equation, there's going to be another nuance or another factor that's going to show up and go, it's not just freedom, it's joy or whatever else gets connected to it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if there's any way to completely make this the Cliff Notes version, but the idea is our destinies are always being revealed because at the moment we are, that's the current destiny, and we don't know where the last destiny is in our physical journey because we don't know when our journey's done. But there are pieces inside of this that come into play, and our purpose for manifestation, if the word purpose is even applicable, but the affectation of manifestation is taking that want, somehow or other having an instinctive connection to whatever our destiny is supposed to be further down the timeline, and bringing it into the present so that we are able to fulfill that destiny to the best of our ability based on the ability for us to now use that reticular activation and other things to actually sort of make sure that we're staying on track. It's not a straight line, but we're on track, back and forth, up, by and large, heading towards destination.
Beautiful.
Okay. Is that longer, shorter version work?
I don't know. It's good. I've recently quit drinking caffeine, and sometimes I feel it.
Okay. Well, you did. I found I'm probably sensitive to caffeine. What was your reason for?
That was an abrupt change to what we were talking about, huh?
Oh, maybe
What
not.
I'm
I'll tell
trying
you
to say
why.
is that you're putting me to sleep, Brian.
Okay. I'm having,
No,
like when we were talking, remember a couple.
I'm like, what I'm realizing in this moment is that I'm like, wow, that was so much that I'm not able to process it, and I'm like, oh, like I wonder if like a cup of coffee would help my restart my brain.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah,
the reason I was asking about the caffeine things is because I can only do it in the morning.
yeah. So I'm just I'm slowly moving towards trying to bring my body back online to get my health better, and so what I've found that it's that I have a very hard time sleeping. There's a lot of like sleep anxiety or whatever it is that just I just don't sleep that well. So I was wondering if like removing the caffeine, even though I only have it in the morning as well, I was just wondering if removing the caffeine. It's more of an experiment. It's more I'm curious.
Right.
Like what would I mean, because I've been drinking caffeine since I had my, like since I was very young, and I want to see what my body does without it.
Well, I'll keep you posted. I mean, I've been having this debate with myself because I believe I'm caffeine sensitive.
Mhm.
Um, and two or three ways that might show up for me. Yes, it is a change of subject, but I think you'll find it there might be an interesting link here. Part of it is that I think with caffeine, my attention is more easily defocused. That's one. Two, I do think it impacts my sleep. I think I don't eliminate caffeine like some people might. My ex-wife,
Okay.
cup of coffee, go to bed. No way. I have a cup of coffee. I'm staring at the ceiling all night.
Yeah.
So, no evening caffeine, don't fly with this guy. So, um, maybe if I'm going out to dinner with people, I might have a cup of coffee after dinner, but I'm aware I'm rolling the dice as to whether I get to sleep that night or not. So, and then there's another aspect of the caffeine besides, I think it actually, since it so easily fosters defocus, I think it also expands shiny object syndrome.
Say
So,
that again.
shiny object syndrome, just in case that wasn't clear, that's just where squirrel,
Oh,
easily
oh, oh. I see
focused
what
on.
you're saying.
So not only do I get defocused, meaning I can't pay attention to something I'm trying to work on, but I'm also more prone to distraction.
Got you.
So I've been thinking about cutting caffeine out. On the other hand, I've gotten so used to it that I don't function as the same way without the morning caffeine.
Well, I weaned it myself, so it wasn't a horrible thing. So give it a shot. It's worth it, the experiment.
Will you let me know how your sleep goes? That would be the biggest thing because I can handle attention deficit things. I have mechanisms to compensate, but
mm,
the sleep thing, if I don't get, I no longer can do what I did as a younger person. 3 hours of sleep a night, those were fine. Now, 3 hours, I am miserable.
oh yeah, dead to the world. Yeah, I'll keep you informed. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I do intend on treating myself once in a while, but we'll see. Like I
Okay.
went and bought myself a uh fancy whatever breve the other day, but that was decaf just because I missed the taste of the coffee.
Mhm.
So, and I mean, I love black teas, but I can get decaf ones,
Well, the thing
which
about
may have a time
decaffeinated
frame.
beverages is they still have caffeine in them.
Yeah,
And then
that's
the other
my
reason, the reason why I don't drink decaffeinated stuff, caffeine free is one thing, but decaffeinated stuff is because of the chemical process they use to remove the caffeine, I think can also cause issues.
well,
So
that I don't want. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd have to look at it, but yeah, it's not so important to me that I don't like that I need to put myself in harm's way from chemicals. But
right. I have enough chemicals in my journey. So I mean,
all
chemicals are
right.
everything's a chemical. But
Oh,
anyway, so is this a time to wrap up? Is that what you're trying? I just at
yeah,
the
I
all
think
wrap.
so. Yeah, and I'll let you know like what night I have off this week. Maybe we can just do some work on that. Um,
And just to let you know, next week this time I won't be available, so we'll have to figure out.
oh,
So maybe Thursday would be a good way for us to get some stuff done if that works out for you.
okay,
Um,
okay. So no
because
show next week.
I'm going to
Okay.
spend some. Well, yeah, I'll spend some time with my daughter next week before she goes back to school. She's only got a few more
Yeah,
weeks,
makes
and she's a
sense.
graduate. She graduates,
Wow,
so
it's awesome.
yeah, great. And then it may very well be that she has asked me. It was we. I think our next father-daughter travel experience will going to come to the Pacific Northwest, and so we'll probably make our way down to your neck of the woods, and we'll go out to dinner on my treat. So,
Okay.
so
Sounds good. If you make it down here.
okie dokie. So,
All right, buddy.
everybody have fun. You still
Yeah.
have to work on the sign off. You have to work on the sign off. You have to come up with a.
Um,
That's your homework now. Find a sign off. Especially for authentic BS, you're going to need a sign off.
what did I say that? Oh, conversations with coaches. I like that. Yeah,
Well, that would be a tagline.
that's a tagline. No, I know. Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave that for another
But
conversation.
anyway, yeah.
Okay,
All right,
everybody
everyone.
have a
Thanks
great
for
day. Thanks for listening to this. Whatever. I know at the beginning
yeah,
this was chairs and all kinds of crap we were talking about. Anyway, talk to you
whatever, they don't have to listen to it. There's always a golden nugget in there somewhere.
someplace. Maybe somebody want to know what chair I got. Anyway, talk to you later.
Yeah. All right, man. Take care.